Looking at her feet, the girl changes out of her tight skirt because it is very hard to move in such heavy clothes. Holding some dark stockings, the pink-haired girl blushes and asks if she really needs to wear those weird thin items. Putting the tight gear on, she admits it feels better for running but still feels a bit embarrassed about her new look. Looking serious, the protagonist explains that they need to move fast and asks if she finished packing for the trip. Showing off her bag, the girl lists all the snacks she prepared while the guy reminds her they are running for their lives. Smiling brightly, she pulls out some small dolls and calls them her most important treasure from her dear friend. Rubbing his face, the young man realizes she took forever just for those toys and tells her they really need to leave now. Standing before a grand building, the boy looks at some banners offering a place for anyone with good looks to join. A pretty lady from the balcony calls out to him and invites the handsome traveler to join her special group right now. Thinking this is his lucky day, he decides to join since this place does not care about how much talent he actually has. Explaining his past, he mentions how the world became messy when a huge war started against his new group for justice. Standing in a field of fire, the fighter reveals he was used as bait because he was just a low-level student there. Lying on the ground near a tree, the hero remembers being found by a kind peasant girl after he was badly hurt in battle. Chopping wood in the yard, the young man enjoys his peaceful life and never wants to go back to the fighting world again. Suddenly a massive force hits the area and sends the wood flying while the guy feels a scary energy in the air. Giant spirits clash in a massive battle and the protagonist realizes that two powerful sects are finally fighting. Realizing that no one is safe from this war, the young man decides to grab his things and escape right now. Abandoning his dreams of immortality, he tells the girl to hold on tight so they can find a peaceful life together. While running away, the girl notices him blushing and he quickly tells her to stop talking and focus on moving. Walking through the quiet night, she wonders if they will ever return home, but he says that home is wherever they are. This guy is actually a traveler from another world who is stuck with a broken system that refuses to work for him. Recalling his past failures, he remembers being rejected by every sect because he has no talent for magic. Even the strongest warriors turned him away and he started questioning why he was even sent to this dangerous world. Suddenly a loud voice tells them to stop and the protagonist feels a cold shiver down his spine as he turns around. Emerging from the shadows, a group of warriors appears and they want to execute him for being a thief from an evil sect. Looking closely at the situation, the powerful leader of the group tells her followers to wait for a moment. Before he can even react, a fast attack comes flying toward his face and he prepares for the worst. Crashing into the dirt, the poor guy feels a heavy foot pinning him down so he can no longer escape. Standing over him, the sect leader demands to know the secret plans and promises to let him live if he talks. Laughing at his own bad luck, he points out that a weakling like him would never know the secrets of a major sect. Looking very annoyed, the beautiful sect leader stares down at the loser who refuses to talk about his secret plans. Stepping forward, the blonde disciple says her master should not worry about this small fry and offers to handle the situation. Crying out loud, the pink-haired girl begs them to stop because she knows her friend is actually a very good person. Smiling in a creepy way, the blonde fighter mocks their deep friendship while she prepares to do something really mean. Suddenly the enemy attacks the innocent companion and the protagonist watches in horror as his partner gets hurt. Falling to the ground, the girl named Xiaotao loses her strength while the hero screams her name in total despair. Angrily, the young man asks why they hurt her since she had nothing to do with the war or the secrets they want. Looking at the fallen ally, the boy asks why they had to kill her and his heart breaks into a million pieces right now. Standing over him, the warrior explains that killing anyone from an evil sect is just part of their job as heroes. Spitting on the ground, the rebel shows he has no respect for these fake groups who only care about their own rules. Shouting with all his might, the guy calls her a bad person and then a sudden flash of pain hits the hero. Screaming in agony, the protagonist feels a terrible attack on his face as the cruel opponent continues the torture. Lying in the dirt, the fallen fighter insults the righteous faction with his last breath while everything starts to go dark. Turning around, the woman in charge tells her students that sometimes they must take hard steps to get rid of evil for good. Bowing her head, the loyal follower agrees with her master and promises to always follow their special path no matter what. Attacked by two fierce fighters, the protagonist falls to the ground while they shout that he is just useless trash. Hurt and struggling, the young man screams the names of his enemies and swears to get revenge if he survives. Suddenly a mysterious system detects his deep hatred and begins a repair process while he is at the edge of death. Resting at the stronghold of a powerful sect, the area seems calm despite the massive war happening nearby. Opening his eyes, the hero finds himself lying down and feels confused about how he is still breathing right now. Looking around the luxurious room, the guy wonders why he is in this strange place instead of being dead. Hearing a familiar voice, the boy realizes someone is watching over him and he tries to focus his vision. A beautiful lady with pink hair smiles at him and mentions that it is time for her special training technique. Even though she looks kind, the hero knows this senior sister is actually very ruthless and dangerous to his life. Quickly sitting up, the fighter asks about the current state of the war and she replies that they won a huge victory. Showing a vision of the past, the lady explains how their master defeated the enemy who tried a sneak attack. Mentioning the destruction of the opposing group, the girl says their leader is now trapped and heavily injured. Still shocked by the news, the protagonist touches his face and wonders how his fatal wounds healed so quickly. Displaying a dark smile, the young man feels a surge of power because his chance for revenge has finally arrived. Running out of the room, the hero decides to find his enemy personally so he can settle their score forever. Hugging him from behind, the pink-haired girl tells him not to run away while she finishes their special training session. Looking at his back, the crazy lady promises that he will not feel any pain because she wants this to be very peaceful. With a dark smile, she says that even his final moments will feel good, and she grips his neck tighter with her hands. Gritting his teeth, the boy thinks he is about to lose all his energy to this woman and feels like he cannot survive here. Suddenly a bright screen appears in front of his eyes saying that the personality correction system is finally ready. Once he feels a rush of power, the protagonist sees a message about reaching the 5th level of his realm right away. Confused by the weird name of this new tool, the young man wonders how a personality system is supposed to help him survive. While the box explains its purpose, the blue screen says it will reform anyone who hates the host and give him rewards. Checking her profile, the traveler sees she is 19 years old and willing to do anything bad to get the man she loves. Staring at her with a strange face, the fighter makes her curious and she asks why he is looking at her like that now. Out of anger, the hero complains that the system arrived way too late and tells it to start working immediately. From thin air, heavy chains wrap around the pink-haired girl while she makes a face of total confusion and surprise. Trapped in a digital field, the lady is shocked by this power and asks what kind of technique is being used against her. Desperate to escape, the woman looks scared while the blue energy starts changing her mind and her whole body right there. Deeply saddened, the main character thinks that if this help came earlier, his friend Xiang might still be alive today. Gritting his teeth, the young man looks very angry as he prepares to face his fate. Inside the portal, the traveler walks toward a glowing blue light that looks like a high-tech door. Down the dark hallway, the hero wonders if this place is actually a massive prison cell. Because the doors are sealed, the guy notes that specific conditions are needed to open these rooms. Against the wall, a pink-haired girl shouts and asks why she is being kept in this scary place. On the glowing screen, the protagonist learns he can reform her bad personality to get some huge rewards. For the second option, the system says he can just eliminate her, but the prize will be much smaller. Crying out in fear, the trapped lady begs for mercy while the system waits for the guy to make a choice. With his growth in mind, the fighter asks about the prizes and hears he could reach level 6 of power. Loudly and clearly, the girl tells him not to ignore her because she is still there. Although reformation takes time, the man sees it gives him level 2 power and a top-tier magic technique. Since he has no time to wait, the warrior summons glowing swords and decides to finish this right now. Pointing his fingers, the hero says he will refine her soul so he can finally reach the 6th level of forging. In total terror, the girl watches as the magical blades surround her and prepare to strike. To save her life, the prisoner cries that she will become a simple maid if he just lets her go. Tied up and helpless, the girl watches as glowing swords fly toward her at high speed, but she can only close her eyes. Sensing danger, the system warns that other warriors are approaching and the boy looks up in total shock. Returning to his body, the traveler feels his mind snapping back to the real world while he complains about the bad timing. Crashing into the wall, the magical blades barely miss the lady while she gasps for air after that narrow escape. Trembling from the intense fear, she realizes her training progress reached 50% after surviving that scary ordeal. Kicking the door open, a blonde warrior yells at the boy for wasting time instead of helping at the front lines. Looking around the messy room, the newcomer wonders why the pink-haired girl is missing and asks where she went. Keeping a straight face, the protagonist prepares a fake story so he can protect his secret partner from being found. Making up a lie on the spot, he claims the girl went away to practice her magic in a quiet and private place. Grabbing the boy by his arm, the fighter says they just need more people and pulls him toward the exit right now. Flying high above the city on a magical sword, the traveler watches as other warriors join the group for the journey. Glancing at his companion, the young man asks what kind of mission requires so many fighters to work together. Recalling the chaotic fight from last night, the leader mentions how many disciples were lost in the harsh battle. Hearing a familiar name, the protagonist looks angry while the boss says they must capture the master by Ningbing. Looking down into a deep canyon, the hero plans his revenge and swears to catch his old enemy once and for all. Stern Man tells them to line up and wait for the big boss to give orders, and they all agree. Watching the crowd, the dark-haired boy feels like they are just waiting in line for their own funeral. Nearby, two guys talk about capturing a beautiful girl, and the protagonist thinks they are total idiots. Suddenly his eyes glow as the system says he finished 50% of a girl named Feng Qingyin's change. Feeling a huge burst of power, the young man reaches the 5th level of his physical training right now. His friend is shocked by the sudden upgrade while the hero pretends to be excited about the mission. Confused by the sudden progress, he wonders why that girl changed since he did not do anything yet. Ordering everyone to be quiet, the crowd looks ahead as 3 powerful figures slowly appear. Standing tall, the leaders arrive and the group welcomes their master with deep respect and fear. Glowing with a purple aura, the scary master named Xiao Yaozi shows off his massive golden level power. Bowing their heads, the disciples feel a heavy pressure and our hero thinks this old man is a monster. Looking down at the weaklings, the master tells them to stop the acting and listen to his words. Quickly thanking the leader, the students look up and prepare for whatever happens next in this place. A pretty elder starts giving out red pills that can boost their strength for the upcoming fight. Holding the small red item, the boy looks suspicious and wonders if this gift is actually a trap. The leader tells the boy to swallow a red pill so he can finally lead the charge to capture a girl named Ningbing. Seeing a giant vision, the young man feels an intense pressure and understands that a very powerful master is watching them. To avoid trouble, the protagonist pretends to eat the strange medicine while keeping a very sharp eye on his surroundings. Pointing at the dark cave, the old man explains that their target is heavily injured and hiding inside that small hole. Narrowing his eyes, the leader says they should all attack at once because they will never get a better chance than this. Screaming like wild animals, the other disciples charge forward with crazy smiles on their faces as they start the hunt. These guys are acting very strange and they yell about wanting to catch the beautiful woman for themselves right now. Observing the madness, the hero realizes that the red pill is definitely causing some scary mental problems for everyone. Entering the dark area, the warriors finally find the girl and they call out for the group to quickly grab her. Sitting on the floor, the white-haired woman looks very weak, but she still has a very cold stare for the attackers. Rushing ahead with glowing red eyes, a disciple tries to use chains to trap her while he laughs like a total maniac. Feeling insulted, the lady says she is disgusted by these weaklings and she begins to charge up a golden light in her hand. Pulling out a massive glowing weapon, the girl prepares to defend herself against the mob of crazy warriors coming her way. Calling them arrogant, she points a finger and sends a sharp energy beam toward the first guy who gets too close to her. Green light slashes through the air and hits the enemies as she shows them that she is still a very deadly fighter. Looking from inside the dark cave, a bloody hand reaches out while the young man waits outside watching the scene. Checking his own power, the traveler sees that entering that dangerous place would be a huge mistake for his level. Standing near the fallen enemies, the white-haired girl notices something very strange happening to the cold bodies. Looking totally terrified, the beautiful fighter wonders how this can even be possible as the ground starts to shake. Suddenly a massive explosion of fire and red mist erupts right under her feet and throws her high into the air. Crashing hard against the stone floor, the poor maiden feels her legs give out because the impact was way too strong. Holding her head in pain, she tries to understand why those defeated soldiers just turned into deadly human bombs. Coughing heavily, the brave lady notices the odd crimson gas smells weird and knows that things are definitely wrong. Waiting outside the spooky cave, the evil old men smile while expecting their nasty trap to finish the job. Laughing like a maniac, the villain explains that the blood smoke is actually a special toxin meant to weaken her. Feeling dizzy and confused, the beauty starts to blush while the heat inside her body becomes very hard to bear. Panting for air, she collapses to the ground and realizes she was poisoned by those cowards hiding in the shadows. Reaching out with his hand, the protagonist shouts for the system to catch the partner before those ancient creeps arrive. Screaming in surprise, the captive is suddenly wrapped in glowing blue chains that pull her away from the dark fog. Facing the glowing portal, the hero finally brings her into his secret space so he can keep her safe from the villains. Sweating nervously, the dark-haired man looks quite intense while he plans his next move against the captured girl. Hanging on the wall are several scary tools and chains that make this dark room look like a very dangerous place. Trapped in a wooden frame, the young lady wonders why she cannot use her magic powers to escape this prison. Grabbing her hair, the young man tells her to stop fighting because he now controls everything about her life. Looking very angry, the prisoner shouts and asks who this mysterious person is and why he is acting so cruel. Swinging his hand, the guy shows his power and asks why she thinks a loser like her can still question his methods. Holding her chin, the protagonist looks down at her while asking if she finally understands how bad her situation is. Checking his blue screen, the man sees that reaching 100% will give him a powerful new flame body. Looking into her sad eyes, the fighter admits that the rewards for defeating this sect leader are actually very good. Taking a thick rope in his hand, the boy prepares to start the training process so he can claim his prize soon. Staring with red eyes, the warrior says he will put even more effort into teaching her a lesson today. Lying on the floor, the poor girl begs him to stop and feels totally helpless against his weird and scary powers. Suddenly a system warning appears and the guy gets annoyed because some other warriors are getting close to him. Using a glowing purple energy, the intruder tries to break the seal while the protagonist gets ready for a fight. Breaking apart into many pieces, the giant ice crystals explode when the powerful enemies finally smash the wall. Several mysterious figures with glowing red eyes emerge from the thick smoke to find their targets. Looking very creepy, the old man with a long mustache smiles while saying he finally arrived at the scene. Hiding behind a rock, the young man feels totally doomed as the powerful sect master enters the dark cave. Spitting out a small needle, the guy tries to stay calm even though the situation is getting way more dangerous. Seeing the messy room, he realizes the enemies used a weird potion that makes people explode after they die. Suddenly a beautiful woman with silver hair senses his presence and turns around to see who is lurking nearby. Charging forward with a green glow, she attacks the protagonist because she hates anyone spying on her secrets. While grabbing him by the neck, the lady asks if he is the same weakling from before who survived her previous hit. Looking closely at her face, the boy asks his system if it can capture someone as mean as this fighter right now. Checking the screen, he sees that her hate level is only 50%, which is not enough to activate the trap. Since he needs her to be furious, he mocks the powerful master to make her mad so the system can finally work. Mentioning her past failures, the boy calls her a coward for being the only survivor of her group during the war. When she moves her glowing blade, the woman screams for him to be quiet while the protagonist ducks the strike. Appearing totally furious, she blames a former friend for her current state and looks ready to destroy everything. Finally pointing her sharp sword at the guy, she promises to end his life first before taking revenge on her enemies. Shouting with rage, the enemy swings his weapon while the system reports that the hostility level is at 90%. Seeing the green light, the protagonist grits his teeth and prepares for the next move because the danger is getting worse. Tumbling through the air, both fighters try to regain their balance while rocks and energy fly everywhere around them. Moving with speed, a hand reaches out to grab the sword handle because they need a weapon to survive this intense battle. Lunging forward, the white-haired girl attacks with her blade and shows no mercy as she tries to end the fight quickly. Watching her closely, the young man notices the hostility is still not high enough for his system to actually activate. Striking the ground with force, the sharp blade misses its target and creates a small crater in the middle of the path. Turning around, the hero looks at the discarded weapon on the floor and wonders why his opponent stopped her assault. Trembling with weakness, the girl feels her body becoming heavy and she asks why all her strength is suddenly disappearing. Blushing deeply, she mentions how hot her skin feels because a strange sensation is taking over her entire mind right now. Kneeling on the cold floor, the warrior struggles to breathe and starts making pain sounds while her vision gets blurry. Standing outside a cave, the old sect master laughs because he knows his special poison is finally affecting the poor girl. Smiling like a villain, the old man says he will wait for her to suffer more before he goes inside to finish his dark plan. Screaming in pain, the white-haired fighter collapses in the dark cave and the sound echoes through the stone walls. Lying on the dirt, she breathes heavily while the poison spreads through her veins and leaves her completely defenseless. After the struggle, the protagonist sits calmly while the red aura from his new power starts to fade around them. Feeling the energy, he realizes his cultivation level reached the 9th stage of body tempering in just a single hour. Looking at her, the system explains she has a special body type with endless uses for someone like him. Standing there in silence, the two characters look at each other while trying to process what just happened. Pointing her finger, the sect leader screams that he forced her, but the boy just laughs at the strange claim. Remembering the pressure from a golden core expert, the hero admits he could only endure it passively. Blushing with rage, the beautiful warrior looks completely offended as she prepares to get her revenge. Reaching for her weapon, the lady grabs the hilt of her sword with a very firm grip to start the next fight. Standing tall with a green glow, she asks if he really thought a moment of closeness would stop her from killing him. Charging forward with pure anger, the girl attacks while the system warns him about her 100% malice. Showing her profile, the screen reveals she is 182 years old and very ungrateful. Running out of space, the system says it cannot catch her because there are no more empty prison cells left. Panicking, the young man shouts to throw out another prisoner to make room for this new dangerous enemy. Suddenly, a pink-haired girl is ejected from the air and blocks the path of the angry sect leader. Seizing the moment, the magical system uses heavy chains to trap the white-haired lady before she can strike.